Okay, quick question. When was the last time you lied? Not a big dramatic lie, not "I did not crash the car," I mean a small one. "I'm fine." "No, I love that gift." "Sorry, I didn't see your message." That tiny, automatic, almost invisible lie that slides out of your mouth before you've even consciously decided to say it. We do this constantly, dozens of times a day probably, and we barely even register it as lying anymore. It's just social lubrication, the grease that keeps human interaction from grinding to a halt. But here's the question that's actually interesting. Where did that come from? Is lying a bug in human software, some kind of moral failure we picked up along the way? Or is it something much older, much deeper? Something that was actually built into us on purpose by evolution itself because it worked. Spoiler, it's the second one. And the story of how humans learn to lie, and more importantly, how we learn to lie well, might be one of the most important stories in the entire history of our species. Let's start with the animals, because deception did not begin with us. Primatologists studying chimpanzees, our closest living relatives, have documented something remarkable. Chimps deceive each other, deliberately. A subordinate male finding food will sometimes suppress his natural excitement calls if a dominant male is nearby, staying quiet, acting normal, waiting until the boss wanders off before he goes back for the food. That's not an accident. That's strategic suppression of true information. There's also tactical deception in courtship. A male chimp pretending to ignore a female when a rival is watching, only to circle back later when the coast is clear. Performed indifference. A complete contradiction between what's felt internally and what's displayed externally. Sound familiar? It should. That's the basic architecture of every white lie you've ever told. Chimps and humans split from a common ancestor around 6 million years ago, which means the capacity for deception, for performing one thing while feeling another, might be at least that old. We didn't invent lying, we just got really, really good at it. So why would evolution favor liars? Isn't honesty supposed to be the foundation of cooperation? Here's the twist. Deception and cooperation aren't actually opposites. In highly social species, species that live in groups, that depend on alliances, hierarchies, and relationships, the ability to manage what others know about you isn't a betrayal of social life. It is social life. Think about it from a survival standpoint. In a small group of 20 to 50 humans, your reputation is everything. If everyone always knew exactly what you were thinking, every fear, every resentment, every plan, every attraction, you'd be in constant, exhausting conflict. Selective concealment isn't antisocial, it's what makes living in a group survivable. This is sometimes called the Machiavellian Intelligence Hypothesis, the idea that primate brains, including ours, got bigger partly because social complexity demanded it. Tracking who knows what, who's allied with whom, who can be trusted with which information, and who needs to be managed carefully, that's an enormous cognitive load. And managing your own information output, deciding what to reveal and what to conceal, is a core part of that load. In other words, the ability to lie might be one of the reasons we got smart in the first place. Now let's get specific. What did this actually look like for early humans? Picture a hunting party returning to camp. One hunter made a mistake, spooked the prey, lost the trail, whatever. Does he announce this honestly to the entire group? "Hey everyone, that failed hunt was entirely my fault." Almost certainly not. And anthropological studies of modern hunter-gatherer societies, groups whose lifestyles give us a window into how our ancestors might have lived, show exactly this pattern. Blame gets redistributed. Excuses get made. The wind shifted. The animal was already spooked before we got there. Small social lies deployed constantly to manage reputation and smooth over friction. And here's the thing. Everyone in the group probably knows, on some level, that these stories are slightly massaged. But calling it out directly would create more conflict than letting it slide. So there's a kind of unspoken agreement. We will tell each other slightly flattering versions of events, and we will mostly let each other get away with it, because the alternative, constant brutal honesty in a group you can't escape from, would be unbearable. This is sometimes called face work by anthropologists, the constant, mostly unconscious effort everyone makes to help each other save face. And it requires deception. Not malicious deception, cooperative deception. Lying as glue. But there's a deeper layer here, and this is where it gets really fascinating. Detecting lies. If deception evolved, so did lie detection. It's an arms race. The better humans got at lying, the more pressure there was to get better at spotting lies. And the better humans got at spotting lies, the more pressure there was to get better at lying convincingly. Round and round, for millions of years. This is part of why humans are so absurdly attuned to micro-expressions. A flicker of the eyes, a pause half a second too long, a smile that doesn't quite reach the eyes, what researchers sometimes call a non-Duchenne smile. A fake smile that uses only the mouth muscles, not the muscles around the eyes that you literally cannot control consciously. Your brain is running constant background processes, checking other people's faces for these tiny tells. Most of the time, you're not even aware you're doing it. That's not a modern skill. That's an ancient, evolutionarily ancient survival skill. Because in a small group where alliances and resources and mates were all at stake, knowing who was lying to you could be the difference between thriving and getting exploited. So here's where it gets almost paradoxical. Ancient humans needed to be good liars and good lie detectors at the same time, and both of those skills point to the same underlying thing, a sophisticated theory of mind, the ability to understand that other people have thoughts, beliefs, and intentions that are different from your own and different from reality. You can't lie effectively unless you understand what the other person believes, so you can craft a false impression that fits their expectations. And you can't detect lies unless you can model what someone should be feeling or doing and notice when their behavior doesn't match. This theory of mind, this ability to model other minds, might be one of the most important cognitive leaps in human history. And deception was right there at the center of it, both as a driver and a byproduct. Let's go even further back to language itself, because here's a wild idea that some researchers take seriously. Language might have evolved in part because it's such a good tool for deception. Honest signals, body language, facial expressions, and tone are hard to fully fake. Your body tends to leak the truth. But words are cheap. You can say almost anything regardless of what's actually true or what you actually feel. Language gave humans an unprecedented tool for constructing narratives that diverge from reality, narratives that serve your interests, your reputation, your alliances. This doesn't mean language is bad or that it was created cynically for lying, but it does mean that the moment humans developed complex language, they developed an incredibly powerful new tool for managing and sometimes distorting the flow of information between minds. And that tool was almost immediately put to social use. Persuasion, spin, flattery, excuse-making, gossip with an agenda. Which brings us to gossip, because gossip might be one of the oldest organized human deceptions and also one of the most important social technologies we ever developed. Gossip lets you do something remarkable, shape someone's reputation without them being present to defend themselves. You can plant a version of events in other people's minds. You can subtly tilt the truth in your favor or against a rival in conversations that happen entirely behind someone's back. Anthropologists studying small-scale societies find gossip absolutely everywhere. And it's not just idle chatter, it's a mechanism for enforcing social norms, building alliances, undermining rivals, and managing reputations across an entire group, often without anyone needing to confront anyone directly. It's deception operating at a social scale, not just an individual one. And once you have gossip, you have something else, the need for discretion, knowing what not to say and to whom. Knowing which version of a story to tell which audience. This is deception becoming strategic, layered, almost architectural, different truths for different rooms. So, let's pull this all together. The secret language of ancient deception wasn't a spoken language at all. It was a behavioral language, a set of skills, instincts, and strategies layered on top of each other over millions of years, suppressing your true reactions, performing emotions you don't feel, managing your reputation through selective storytelling, reading microexpressions to catch others doing the same, using gossip to shape group opinion from the shadows, crafting narratives through language that bend reality just enough to serve your interests. None of this required writing. None of it required cities or money or any of the trappings of civilization. It just required other people, enough of them close enough together for long enough that managing what they knew about you became a matter of survival. And here's the part that should make you pause. Every single one of these mechanisms is still running right now inside you. The slightly massaged story you told about why you relate, the compliment you gave that wasn't entirely true, the version of an argument you told your friend that was very slightly tilted in your favor, the smile you gave someone you don't actually like. None of that makes you a bad person. It makes you a human running software that's been in continuous development for millions of years, refined across countless generations because it worked. Because groups of humans who could manage information, manage impressions, and occasionally bend the truth survived better than groups who couldn't. The secret language of deception isn't secret because it's hidden in some ancient scroll. It's secret because it's so deeply built into how human minds work that we barely notice we're speaking it. Every day, all the time. You've been fluent since before you could talk. So, the next time you say, "I'm fine," you're not lying. You're just doing what humans have always done.